I have not been able in the past 48 hours to get away from this, okay? So, I'm just gonna address it and clarify some things because it needs to be done. Um, Last night while all of this was going on and I'm seeing all these different things, I thought, well, all right, if I come on, like I would love to come here and be funny and cute and like, oh, let me tell all these jokes about it and lighthearted. I don't want to be a dick. I don't want this to be like, a hateful stream or like, a war or anything like that. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to just take my time and be cool and just address things bit by bit. But it is upsetting and aggravating. Sunday, January the 4th is where all of this sort of popped off. And I seriously, y'all, I can't tell you how ridiculous it feels to sit down here and get ready to break down a Hunchasaurus voice. What are we doing, first of all? I'm serious. Like, I feel completely stupid even having to sit here and be like, well, this and this and that with Hunchasaurus. Like, but just bear with me, I guess. We'll do it together. It's so ridiculous. All right. So you'll see that this was a quote tweet to a post that I had. I deleted everything when I gave up. I was like, you can have it, forget it. I started going through the replies and I was like, just delete it all. Who cares? You know? So I started to, and I ended up like stopping all the deleting because I was like, maybe I might need this later. Let me just not. Anyway, what was originally here was a post that I made with the Hunchasaurus voice. Okay. January the 1st, I had reached out to Rudy Vega to see if I could have like a still shot of his Hunchasaurus that he made in his like one of the latest cartoons he had done, the music videos, I should say, with Carmack. And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So on January the 1st, I had the image that I needed. I just needed to collect the audio to build this AI super tip voice, right? All right. Like I said, I've had some stuff going on in the background in real life, and I haven't had time to do it. So on Sunday, typically Sunday, I'll do my thumbnail for the week and start, gathering clips and whatever it is I'm going to be doing because I have a little time after church. So after church, I came home and I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. And I sat here for several hours skimming through the audio that was available on Karmic X's channel to just get the little snippets of when he does the, wow, how to show his voice, all of that, right? I got almost 10 minutes worth and I ran it through. I can't hear the sample until it's approved, right? So I run it through. I made a little post on Twitter to be like, look, we're about to have a Hunchasaurus voice. I had no idea at the time that Mersh already had a Hunchasaurus voice. I had no clue. Saturday night, apparently, I don't know what day he debuted the voice, but I hadn't seen it. I haven't been watching Nightwave. My bad. But I had no idea. And, the way that Super Tip works, each creator has a certain set of audio sample or voices that can be used for the audio tips. Okay. I can't see what he has. I have no idea, like the big list of names that he has available to use for voices. I have no idea. So I didn't know he had one. So he comes on and he says, we beat you to it, LMAO. And he shows this with the little dinosaur with the NLO hat, right? Which honestly, yeah, mine looked more like this one, but I'd gotten it from Rudy Vega. Anyway, he comes on and he says this. And I was like, great minds think alike and all that, right? All right. Yeah. Somebody says Melton said people who create a voice. This is really, really important, actually. Melton said people who create a voice can share it with people and the creator gets a taste of the revenue. King Mersh needs his cut. And I said, it's not ready yet. We're using 2 different versions right now. So I don't know how that'll be handled moving forward. I didn't know he already had one. I would have been fine with that option to use the one he had already created with some cut going to him. But it looks like there are 2 versions for now. I don't know. And what's sort of another thing that's important about this, when I posted that, Melton pops up out of nowhere. Let me see if I can find it. Melton pops up and he was telling me the progress of it. He was like, it's almost done. I'll let you know when it's ready. And then he comes back and he's like, it's approved. And I was like, yay, And at the time, I'm like, okay. Like, meanwhile, Mersh is like, I already have one. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, so it's got to be something where that is not available yet, to where you can't switch. I can't use Mersh's version because why else would Melton approve a second version? So anyway, he comes on and he's like, hey, it's ready. It doesn't matter. Long story short is this. I'm on the telephone with Moody, literally on the phone with Moody. And I was like, we were talking about something totally different, but I was pulling these clips. I had sent this through, waiting on it to be approved and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I've got this other Hunchasarus voice. Apparently, Mersh has one. I don't know. And Moody tells me, hold on, I'll pull it up. Like I said, I'm not going to read it word for word because that's a dick move. But he says, ask Mersh for what he used the sample for, like what sample, where his sample came from. He also said, you can tune in settings as well, but we haven't implemented sharing of voices yet. So by this point, I'm gonna switch back over here because I don't need that anymore right now, I don't think. So by this point, I know that the option to like, hey, can I just use yours and you get part of the revenue is not a thing. I already have mine being built, right? I'm sitting there waiting for it to be approved. I get the message on Twitter, it's done. And then he was like, but Mercia sounds better. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So I'm on the phone with Moody. I've got, and this is important because I've got Melton talking to me on Twitter. I've got Moody literally on my ear trying to figure out, all right, well, what should I do next? And I said, all right, well, if I take the whole thing down and retrain it, because I'd sort of tweaked it in the back and stuff and it wasn't great. And I thought, all right, well, because I don't have a membership to Karmic's channel, my next best guess to get more clips to retrain this AI model was to contact Doom or Sethro Joe Burrow or one of the Clippers, Real Media Player, somebody to say, hey, do you have some snippets that I can use to run and retrain this thing? I already felt weird, honestly, about having a second version of the same voice because that's, I don't know, to me that was like, well, why? Why would I do that? But I thought, well, okay, it's already midway. Let me see if I can get it tweaked in, dialed in a little better. And so I'm off to the races. And Moody says, why don't you reach out to Mersh? You just heard it. Why don't you reach out to Mersh and see what audio he used? And I was like, all right, that makes sense. I'm closer to Mersh than I am any of the Clippers. So I was comfortable going to Mersh and being like, hey, man, what's up? I didn't realize that we were doing this at the same time. Do you have audio that I can use? And this is what I expected to happen. In my head, I thought he might say something like November the 28th stream from Karmic. Whatever, December of the 4th stream. I didn't ever expect to be handed anything, first of all. So go to Mersh. What's up? Like, I'm tweaking this. I'm trying to see if I can get it in a better place. What audio did you use? Because after having 10 minutes of this, I thought that would probably be good. But the problem with that is with AI, from voice to voice, it sounds different. Y'all know that. From even some of the super tips that come in from sentence to sentence, depending on how it's written, it can sound different. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. I'm on the phone with Moody over something else. I've got some other stuff going on. Like, it wasn't a priority by any means, but I thought if I can fix it, I'll see if I can fix it. So he says, he was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Cause I said like, hey, I didn't mean to step on your toes or anything. I didn't realize you had another version of it going. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And he said something to the, hold on. Like I said, I don't want to read word for word, but I want you to get an understanding of how this conversation went and why and the timing. He basically says he knew that he wasn't going to be the only one that had that idea. And he said he got lucky because his girlfriend had been collecting clips along the way of Hunchasarus and other Karmic clips because she really likes Karmic. Now, I've talked to Ice Dancer a bunch in the past. This was not my first time contacting Ice Dancer. He says that, and said that he got this, I guess he had the voice done the night before. And I said, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to ask her if what samples she used, where should I go? Point me in the right direction to pick up better. It's probably cleaner samples, right? Because the ones I had, sometimes there's background noise, whatever. So I thought, all right, well, whatever she has, it must be a little clearer. Point me in that direction. I'll clip it. I didn't ask him to do shit for me. So that's going on. 20 minutes passes. He doesn't get back to me. And I said it. I said, I'll see if she can share a few of the samples she used or can point me in the right direction. Nothing. No answer. What I didn't know until I look over and the entire panel of my DMs starts lighting up is that he was live with Tommy Jordan, absolutely trashing me. And I wasn't listening to it because I was on the phone with Moody, but I'm sitting here reading the text and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Meanwhile, like I said, he hadn't gotten back to me. What did I do? Yeah, I went to Ice and said, what's up? Like, What can I point me in the right direction? What can I use? She immediately, responded and was like, "Oh yeah, no problem," and sent me like a link to like a 4-minute clip. Okay. And I was like, "Cool, man, thank you." The end. The end. At that point in my head, I had chain of custody, right? Like, I had already gone through, I asked Moody what to do, I asked Melton what to do. They said, "Go ask Mersh where he got his samples from." Mersh says, "I got my samples from the girlfriend." And I said, "Thanks, toodaloo," and went and asked her. Okay, that was it for me. I was like, "Okay, cool, no problem." I didn't think I was in trouble. I didn't think I was gonna get called a dabble cunt the next day. I didn't know, and like I said, I haven't even heard this 20-minute clip. We're gonna watch it together in a second, so who knows? But I'll say this. I've known Mersh for many years. I understand sort of his ebbs and flows. I didn't deserve what he's done for the past couple of days. When we ended this conversation, because he comes back to me and he's like, I wish you would just ask me for it flat out." And I was thinking, well, I thought I did. And I told you when you pointed me in the right direction, I went to go get them. I thought that's what I was supposed to have done. When this conversation ended, and this would have been the last time we spoke was not last night, but the night before at 10 o'clock. He sends a message back to me. Like I said, this whole time he's live on Tommy Jordan. I'm not even listening to it because I'm busy. And he comes back and says, "We're cool. In the future, verify that you're going to be chasing something down that I worked on or that was worked on for the show." And I'm thinking, that's what I did. Like, okay, sure. His girlfriend made the clip or the 4-minute thing to run through the audio, but he's telling me, "Okay, from here on out, you got to give me a heads up before you go and ask somebody for part of my work." As a matter of fact, his live stream last night was called Homework or something about homework, and apparently was talking about how I wanted to cheat off other people's homework. That's what I mean. I know this is stupid and petty, but I'm just gonna break it down. I didn't cheat off anybody's anything. I cut my own clips, ran it through. I asked the 2 owners of the company, which I guess there's 3, but Melton and Moody, what do I do to improve this? I've tweaked this, I've done that. Do I need to just get new samples? And they were like, "Yeah, just get new samples. Ask Mersh where his came from, and then go there." Like I said, I expected him to be like November the 28th, go to that one. So anyway, the last time we spoke, he said, "We're cool. In the future, verify when you're gonna chase something, that he's worked on," which whatever. Um, and then the big part is this, and I knew it was this, but he flat out told me the reason why he's so on edge and on guard right now is because of the way that Moody and Melton basically wrecked whatever, plan he had for Scarlett. We knew that. He said that, but he said, "I'm sorry," he didn't say, "I'm sorry," but he said, "I'm on edge because, this is going on, and now I'm watching Ashley Cummings on with Scarlett, and he feels snaked or whatever." So he's taking it out on me, and I'm like, "Man, I was just trying to get I was just trying to get, like, pointed in the right direction to cut my own audio. It's not this serious." Meanwhile, I'm talking to his girlfriend, and she's like, "I'm sorry. He's in a mood, basically, and, uh, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. It's not your fault. I know that you didn't know any better." And I'm thinking, well, I assumed it was okay because you made it. Was it for Mersh's show? Yeah. Was it going to be used on, the super tip panel for Mersh? Yes. But I went straight to the source. I went to the owners of the company, where it came from, and then where he had sourced it. All right. I did nothing wrong. And for him, let me shut up, see, because I'm getting heated. What upsets me is the last time we spoke, he's like, "We're cool." He didn't say I overreacted, but he said, like, things are, he's feeling snaked without saying it, but he's feeling snaked and boundaries are being crossed and whatever. That's the last thing he said to me. And so this whole time I'm apologetic. Like, "Dude, I wasn't trying to step on your toes. I'm sorry it came off that way." Like, really, like, I would never do that. Now, with what I do for work and things, my integrity is important. It's not about like, oh, the stupid voice, the super tip voice and that AI voices and all that. It's not even about that for me. For me, it's my integrity. And when we left this off, we were okay. I let it slide. I said, "You can have the damn thing. I have a bad taste in my mouth about this now. I'm good. You can have it. I don't want it." And he sort of explained why he had reacted the way that he did. I was talking back to his girlfriend about it. She's like, her and I are cool. There was no problems there. And I told her I was sorry if I caused any problems for her. Because I don't know. Maybe he's taken, they're arguing about it now. And I'm like, "I didn't mean to start anything. Like, I apologize. I had no idea that this is going down this way." And that's where we left it off. Okay. So I get up the next morning, and there's Misery Love Clips had a clip of him on with Tove Joe. He was on with Tommy Jordan. And so there was a little snippet of that, which I heard, right? And that, even that, I hadn't heard it until yesterday morning. So I was like, man, whatever. This is all, this is being misconstrued. There's a lot of things that are being left out and details that matter that are being left out, but it's not important. We're talking about a stupid AI voice for a Hunchasarus, which look, everybody needs to remember the audio that we're discussing, it's karmics. Like, you run it through the AI and then there's a different version made, right? But it doesn't belong to me or to him or to Ice Dancer or to anybody. And when you run through the AI thing and all that, then that becomes a new product, right? I know, shit show, I know. And that's just it. When Panhandler is on my side, you've messed up. Like, something is not right, and you need to like pump the brakes and figure out, well, hold on, maybe I'm wrong here. My bigger point is this. I let it go. I was like, it's fine, no problem, whatever. And then last night, it lit up again. But everywhere I went last night, they were covering that. It was NLO, BYB, Pat Dixon, maybe even Tommy Jordan. It was everywhere I looked. And I was like, this is too much. And I cannot believe, after the way that we had a private conversation about this, where we left out, okay, after that, it wasn't let go. And that's what makes me angry. There's no, like, I know everything he does is content farming and all that. When he was it was after the Scarlet thing happened with Patrick and Moody, and he was like, he went off about that for a minute, and he was like, that's it. From here on out, every single one of you are content for me. I knew then what he meant. You know what I mean? But here, for me, it's like, I could shut up. I could just be like, yeah, whatever, and just let him continue to do this day after day after day after day. Or I can say, let me show you the points that he left out that are important. There was no need to do this. You and I were talking privately, first of all, when you started raging out live on Tommy Jordan. That was at the same time. The timestamps are there. Like, we were talking, and my entire DM, thing lit up saying, he's talking shit. He's talking shit. And I'm like, what? You made the private public for no reason at all. And then after we worked things out and you understood and I understood and everybody was okay, then you decided that was going to be your content for the night. That's my problem with it. I've known Mersh a long time. We're not besties. But if he's going to come for me when I'm just trying to, like, I don't know. I would expect something like that from your enemies, where you're like, oh, he's come after me. But we were fine. We were cool. So yeah, that leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. And I've thought about, like, okay, should I just go ahead and do another Hunchosaurus voice and all that, just try to get a better version, and I'll just sit here and work and work. I don't care. He can have it. It's not that big of a deal. There's some things that he said that just were not right, and I just feel like I should clarify and move on. Mersh, I don't care. You can have the Hunchosaurus voice. What I don't like is you and I talking in private, you screaming about it, on somebody else's show, and then coming back to me and being like, I got a lot, going on and stuff, and I feel boundaries are being pushed here and there, and I just want to make sure you understand, because I think that show, he was like, if I don't put my foot down and make an example out of this, other people are going to think they can step all over me too. I would not have known where to ask for the source material unless you told me, which shows we discussed it and you told me. Anyway. It's all petty and it's all bullshit. But I'm going to tell you this. This is not the first time that he's done something like this and then apologized to me later in private. I don't know how many times I'm supposed to get like, oh, okay, never mind. It's okay. That's just him. He was drunk, or if we're cool, we're cool. If not, fine. That's just it. I don't want to go war and some kind of back and forth with him. I just think this stuff. No, it's not about taking the bait. It's about my integrity. It's about my integrity. I didn't do anything wrong, and you're not going to come out here and talk a bunch of shit about me while I just sit here with my thumb up my ass. Oh, no. Like, enough. Don't do that, especially when we were cool in private. We were fine here. So anyway, I got to chill because I'm getting mad.